breaking the fire triangle or fire tetrahedron. Cooling the fuel by applying heat, for example by applying water. Smothering cutting of oxygen supply, by applying foam or carbon dioxide. Breaking the fire triangle. Starving, removing the fuel, for example stopping gas flow during a pipeline fire. Inhibition, stopping the chain reaction, applying the dry chemical powder. Causes of explosion on ships. Stored massive amount of fuel, lubricating and diesel oil in tanks might end up in disaster if proper precaution are not taken. Machineries that uses fuel. Hot spot caused by improper maintenance and insufficient or less clearance. Hot spot is produced as a result of rubbing between two metal surfaces or friction between two metal parts such as piston rod and gland, crosshead guides, chain and gear drive etc. Types of explosion on ships. Crankcase explosion of main engine. Overspeeding of generator. Boiler explosion. Compressor airline explosion. High-pressure fuel line bursting. High-pressure steam leakages. Turbocharger explosion. Topic number 4, Types and sources of ignition. 4 phases of fire development. Ignition, incipient. Developing, surface fire. Absolute fire, fire in depth in solids. Burning out. Ignition. Ignition starts when a flammable or combustible material in combination with the sufficient quantity of oxygen is exposed to a source of heat or ambient temperature above the flash point. Oxygen. Normal air contains 21% of oxygen, fuel may also contain oxygen. Heat sources, sun, hot surface, sparks, friction, electrical energy. Fuel sources, gas be solid, liquid or gas. Solid, coal, wood, paper, leather, plastic, sugar, grain. Liquid, gasoline, alcohol, paint, oil. Gas, natural gas, propane, hydrogen, CO. The piloted ignition. Sources of ignition. Heaters. Lightings. Naked flames. Electrical equipment. Smoking materials, cigarettes, matches. Flammable liquids and gases. Anything that can get very hot and cause sparks. Common sources of ignition on ships. Combustible liquids, fuel and lubricating oils. Oil leaks and oil-soaked insulation. Hot surfaces, for example exhaust pipes, engine parts overheating. Defects in lagging. Ignition sources. Topic number 5, Flammable materials, fire hazards, and spread of fire. Properties of flammable materials. Flammability. Ignition point. Burning. Temperature. Burning speed. Thermal value. Lower flammable limit. LFL, upper flammable limit. UFL, flammable range. Flashpoint. Auto ignition.
Properties of flammable materials. The following general guidelines apply for fires involving flammable and combustible liquids: minor spills, large spills, spills on water, siding or ullage ports, cargo tanks, ship's galley, oil burning equipment. Static electricity. Imbalance of electric charges within or on the surface of a material. Lightning is a static electricity. Example: when we walk along a carpeted floor and get shocked when touching a nail or any other metal object is one example of static electricity. Method of propagation. In certain situations, fire will also travel downward, through ducting or through deck plates. Conduction. Burning embers, dropping from one deck to another, provide a more dangerous method of downward fire extension. Fire travels via the radiation, conduction and convection of heat. For the most part, these processes will extend the fire laterally and upward, laterally along passageways and ducting, and upward through hatches and stairways. Fire hazards. Fire hazards in the engine room, including combustible liquids, fuel and lubricating oils not properly stowed, oil leaks and oil-soaked insulation, hot surfaces, for example exhaust pipes, engine parts overheating, defects in lagging hot work, for example welding, cutting by oxyacetylene torch. Galley operations. The intense activity, the many people, the long hours of operation. The basic hazards, open flames, fuel lines, rubbish and grease accumulations, all add to the danger of fire due to galley operations.
Hazards in the galley including combustible liquids, for example cooking oil, hot fat. Hot surfaces, for example ovens, frying pans, flues. Defective electrical connections. Hazards in accommodation. Combustible materials, for example furnishings, personal effects. Lounges and recreation rooms may contain couches, chairs, tables, bars, television sets, books and other items constructed wholly or partly of Class A materials. Matches and cigarette smoking. Disposing of butts and matches. Careless smoking. Smoking in bed. Smoking and alcohol. Defective electrical connections. What to look for. Inspect for frayed or damaged or worn wiring on portable electric tools, extension cords, shore power cables, portable lighting, and permanent shipboard wiring. Defective electrical connections. Be alert to the possibility of defective electrical connections at collective sources such as switchboards, electronic cabinets, generators, fuse panels, and boxes. Take special care when performing electrical installations, modifications, or repairs. Pre-survey a site for overhead power lines, keeping yourself and your equipment 10 feet or more away. Confirm that all electrical equipment, cords, and/or tools are properly grounded. Pre-survey a site for overhead power lines, keeping yourself and your equipment 10 feet or more away. Confirm that all electrical equipment, cords, and/or tools are properly grounded. Defective electrical connections. Defective electrical connections. Preventing and eliminating electrical safety and shock hazards. Oxidizing cargoes and organic peroxides. Compressed flammable gas. Pyrophoric cargoes. Explosives. Hazards from cargoes, including self-heating cargo and spontaneous combustion. Spread of fire. Conduction in solids. Heat or electricity is transmitted through a substance when there is a difference in temperature X. Transfer of heat from electric stove to the pot. Convection of fluids, liquid or gases, process by which heat travels through air, water and other gases and liquids. Example: transfer of heat from the gas stove to the pot. Radiation, emission of heat energy in rays or waves. X. Heat from the sun. The third stage of fire growth. The temperature of a normal fire. 3 different regimes in a fire plume. Slightly above the base of the fire begins the continuous flame region. Here the temperatures are constant and are slightly below 900 degrees Celsius. The temperature of a normal fire. Above the solid flame region is the intermittent flame region. Here the temperatures are continuously dropping as one moves up the plume. The visible flame tips correspond to a temperature of about 320 degrees Celsius. The temperature of a normal fire. Finally, beyond the flame tips is the thermal plume region, where no more flames are visible and temperature continually drop with height. The temperature in burning metals. Topic number 6, Need for constant vigilance. Need for constant vigilance. Prevention, the best method of combating a fire. This can be achieved by constant vigilance, preparedness, fire patrol, proper watchkeeping, maintenance of equipment. Regulation 15 of SOLAS Chapter 2-2, Instructions, Onboard Training and Drills. Purpose: mitigate the consequences of fire by means of proper instructions for training and drills of persons on board and correct procedures under emergency conditions. Onboard training and drills. Conduct of safety familiarization for all crew. Evaluation of performance of crew assigned to firefighting duties. Onboard training in the use of fire extinguishing systems and appliances shall be given as soon as possible but not later than 2 weeks after joining. Conduct of one fire drill every month includes the use of fire extinguishing systems and appliances. Training manuals. Provided in each crew mess room and recreation room or in each crew cabin, written in the working language of the ship. Contents of the SOLAS Training Manual: General Fire Safety Practice and Precautions, General Instructions on Firefighting Activities and Procedures. Training Manuals. Contents of the SOLAS Training Manual: Meanings of the ship's alarms. Operation and use of firefighting systems and appliances. Operation and use of fire doors. Operation and use of fire dampers, and escape system and appliances. The purpose of these drills. Drill regularly on working together as a team to handle fire hose. Attack. Left. Right. Prepare to back out. Back out. Patrol systems. On ships having more than 36 passengers, an efficient patrol system must be maintained so that an outbreak of fire may be promptly detected. Each member of the fire patrol shall be trained to be familiar with the arrangements of the ship as well as the location and operation of any equipment he may be called upon to use.